All right, guys, thank you for joining me this morning. Appreciate it as always. Let's get the 5 by 5s out of the way. Let's go. Thank you for the 5 by 5. Ozark, thank you for the 5 by 5. Appreciate it, guys. All right. Thiz, thank you for the 5 by 5. Kathy, Dan, thank you for the 5 by 5. Super, Live Free, thank you for the 5 by 5. Mitch, Bajar, Standalone, Angels, thank you for the 5 by 5. God, my eyes suck ass. Hudson Valley, what's going on? How are you feeling, by the way? Chris, Harold, and Middleton, thank you for the 5 by 5. Kevin, thank you for the 5 by 5. Appreciate it, guys. All right, all right, all right. Let's get on with this because we only have a half hour. Or less than that now. All right, so I told you guys about the. Jesus, let me find it. There was a story that I talked about. I'm going to talk about that in a couple minutes, but it was pertaining to the DoorDash incident that happened, I guess, last month. But let me jump into another story real quick. Kevin Moose, thank you for the 5 by 5. Mr. Landfill, thank you for the 5 by 5. My eyes suck ass, dude. Like I can barely see anything. It's why I try to get up earlier than normal. All right, so as of lately, there've been a lot of tourists passing away in Laos. So Laos has, I guess, become a tourist destination again. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the country between Vietnam and Thailand. It's a small, little, nothing of a country. Anyway, apparently a lot of people have been passing away in this country due to bad food and tainted alcohol. So there was a mother and two kids that passed away from eating street vending food. And it was a tourist spot. These three were tourists. So anyway, that's not the story I wanted to talk about. The story I wanted to talk about were the fact that a father and son in Laos passed away because they were stung to death by giant Asian hornets. Now, giant Asian hornets, man, I mean, like, if you've never seen them, they are gigantic. And if I'm not mistaken, fun fact about these Asian hornets is they have memory. So if they attack you, they will remember who you are, like almost like crows. These things are, and again, one sting from one of these hornets is bad. Multiple stings is outrageous. So let's see where I can give you guys a decent picture. Here it is. This might work. All right, this might work. But anyway, so as it is, they were coming off a hike, coming down a mountain, and they disrupted I don't know how they did this, but they disrupted a nest, and this nest had thousands of these Asian hornets, and they wound up getting stung to death. Let me see again if I can. Okay. Oh my God. I should have had this ready, but I also assume that people. All right. Here it is. That's as big as they are. So now imagine being stung by hundreds of those. All right, so imagine hundreds of those. So anyway, the teacher and son were how do you say, stung to death in Laos by these giant Asian hornets. Daniel Owens, 47, headmaster of a prestigious international private school in Vietnam, and his son Cooper, 15. Now, when you see the picture of his son in the papers, his son looks like he's like 4 or 5, so they use an old picture. But his son Cooper, 15, were each stung over 100 times by deadly insects as they were ziplining, at an eco adventure resort near the Long Prong Down, on the Mekong River, October 15th. So this happened over a month ago. Now, one article I read said they were hiking. They were coming down a mountain. This article said they were ziplining. Who knows? But apparently they either went through a tree or dislodged. Two different articles said two different things on the way they found the hornets, or the way the hornets found them. Anyway, Idaho-born Owen and his son were attacked by a swarm of hornets, each of which can grow to up to 2 inches long. You see how big that thing is? Anyway, while they struggled to descend a tree with their guide. Okay, that's what it was. They were coming down a tree, excuse me. Their whole bodies were covered with red spots. It was very painful. A lot of stings, more than 100, over the entire body. That was a doctor in Laos that said they saw them. So by the time they probably got to the doctor, they were unrecognizable. A sting from one of these things, guys, are horrendous. 100, they were unrecognizable by the time they got to the doctor's office. And they never mentioned the guide being stung, but I thought that was very interesting. So now, the mother and son team that the mother and sons that passed away, they passed away in Laos from eating at a vendor. I guess they ultimately wound up getting food poisoning. There was two teenagers, I think they were 17, 18 years old. They died, again, last month. So the teacher and the mother and her 2 sons died last month from food poisoning. 2 teenagers died from alcohol poisoning. Apparently there was too much ethanol in the alcohol. And then you have this. Now, granted, the alcohol and the food, you could almost say that it was on purpose. This is a long shot of being on purpose. But as of right now, Laos is a level 2, meaning that if you travel into Laos, you're being warned about traveling in this country because of the people who are passing away there. Now, instead of just outlawing it altogether, they are still allowing people to travel there. I find that very bizarre. Nonetheless, dying by way of food poisoning, alcohol poisoning, and stung by an Asian all sucks. You die painfully, especially food poisoning. The Asian or hornet stings. You die very painfully by way of that. Just thought I'd share that not fun, but shitty way of dying. Come on. Alright, give me a second. This computer is acting up again. Anyway, so now here's the fun story. The fun story is an update on a story I spoke about maybe 2 weeks ago. 2 Wednesday midweek reports 2 weeks ago. But apparently there was an update where I told you about, let me recap that story, where the DoorDash delivery person, she went to the home, for those of you that might remember, she went to home to make a delivery, and the door was wide open, and through the wide open door, the person waiting for the delivery was a guy laying on his couch naked. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he had his pants off, he still had a shirt on. She took a picture of this guy laying in his home naked from the waist down. Now, I ran across her video by accident on, I think it was Instagram. It was a TikTok story, but I ran across it on Instagram. And she said, and I quote, "I was sexually assaulted when delivering for DoorDash." Now, those people who read that article, read the caption, you thought that the guy got up, wiggled his dick, and ran after her. But that wasn't the case. She knocked on the door. He didn't move. She dropped the food off on the doorstep and left. She took a picture of him and then, I guess, got home and proceeded to make a video about how DoorDash handled the situation poorly. She does this whole video. She shares where the guy lives, the address, and reports him to DoorDash. Now, according to DoorDash, the guy his account was suspended with them because we all know why this guy was doing it. I mean, this guy was pretty much doing it to be a dick. Though it is his home, he does what he wants, but you have a female showing up and you know that to stage himself in that way was a bit of a dick move. Nonetheless, it was even a bigger dick move to then take this guy, put him on the internet, and try to make him famous. So DoorDash wind up firing her or getting rid of her account after that whole thing transpired. And again, that was like 2 weeks ago. This happened, if I'm not mistaken, early in October. By the time I saw her video, it was like October 15th. So I think 2 weeks have passed. And she wound up getting fired. And she sat there and tried to cry about how that was her only means of income, was DoorDashing. So anyway, fun update. New York DoorDasher now arrested for recording man inside his home and posting his personal details. DoorDash service was a necessity for so many. I don't know. No. Sorry. The article states DoorDash services are a necessity for so many people. No, it's not. Several months ago. Oh, so this is several months ago. Sorry. By the time I saw it, yes, it was October 15th, but it did happen a while back. But several months ago, a New York woman who is now known on the internet as the DoorDash girl, not really, was fired from her position as a driver. She was let go. Why? She alleged a customer sexually assaulted her while delivering his order. Now, again, guys, to sit there and say somebody sexually assaulted you by being in their home naked is a far stretch. First and last said she keeps uploading the video and it keeps getting nuked. Interestingly enough, because somebody said she made a lot of money off of TikTok. So I find that to be very interesting if it keeps getting taken down. Which she did say in the video, one of the videos I watched, she did say it was taken down repeatedly. But that she was going to keep, Mitch, DoorDash is very expensive. It is. It's not a necessity. Not at the listen, I was DoorDashing a lot after, my son passed away. I refused to go outside and I was DoorDashing. And I think that month I spent close to $600-700. So yeah, it's expensive. And now I stopped just because I'd rather cook for myself or eat paint chips than order from DoorDash, right? It's super expensive. Anyway, things felt a little weird and off when the DoorDash fired her, and naturally people bashed the company for their decision. But now it turns out that she was arrested for what happened that day. And again, the arrest came, it looks like weeks later after this, if not months later, because she kept talking about it. Anyway, as the story unravels, it becomes more and more interesting, to say the least. The initial TikTok story posted by Olivia, and her TikTok, I can't read that, something doll, I'm not going to read it. But anyway, the original DoorDash girl was supposed to deliver food to the resident. At the time of her arrival, the customer was sleeping on the couch with his pants around his ankles. Olivia posted the video of him lying on his couch with his name and information for all to see. Since then, she's made several follow-up videos accusing DoorDash of firing her unfairly. She accused the company of punishing her for being sexually assaulted by the customer. Now, she was neither sexually assaulted. She shared this guy's information way too much. So everybody in this situation were being a dick. DoorDash, the customer, and her, the DoorDash Karen, right? All three were being assholes in this. Should she have gotten fired? Yes. sharing this guy's information? Absolutely, being that he was in his home. Now, had the guy been like an Uber driver with his pants down, that's an entirely different story. Um, my skydive. Are you see? Yes, I'm seeing a lot of ads in the chat. It's out of control, and the thing is, there's nothing I can do about that. Like I was looking to see how I can get the ads off the chat. There's nothing I can do about it, and you don't even. I don't even get paid for that. They're just sticking it in there, and the ads are stupid, by the way. In the chats, they're dumb. I never seen such stupidity in my life. All right. Anyway, sorry. Since then, some confusing developments have taken place. For one, Olivia has since been arrested for 2 counts of felony. According to the TikTok page, she's facing charges of 1 count of dissemination of surveillance images for sale, that's the guy, or publishing. And the dissemination of surveillance image for sale is the guy being posing nude, though she blurted out, and apparently making money off of TikTok. So because she's making money, it can be dissemination of surveillance images for sale. I never heard of such charge, but whatever. As well as 1 count of unlawful surveillance for amusement or profit. Her first court hearing on the matter is December 4th. It turns out it wasn't fully legal for her to be standing outside the customer's house and recording him while he's inside his home. Of course it's not legal. That was the whole part. And I thought because it went on for so long she wasn't going to get in trouble, but apparently she did. Nobody's really surprised that she's been charged because of the severity of the situation, but BNC News, which is on TikTok, you can't expect nothing to happen. After leaking someone's photo, name, and address for all to see, on top of this, unlawful surveillance applies because he wasn't aware that he was being recorded at the time. In fact, it is very apparent that he was sleeping. Maybe not the best idea when you know your food order is coming, but I'm sure he didn't expect to be followed. So, as one commenter says, people are quick to post on social media without thinking. Another commenter pointed out that this is a real thing that happens. Apparently, people, especially men, have been known to purposely leave their door open while in a revealing situation so that women can find them like this. I don't understand what that's going to do, but I know that women do it a lot. Women do it a lot more than men. Women come to the door stark naked. Now, I did Uber Eats and DoorDash. I did those delivery services before migrants took it over and destroyed it at what you see it now. And yes, a woman never showed up to the door naked. A little disappointed, but in my situation, she would have probably been, a 75-year-old lady with her tits to her knees. Nonetheless, women do it way more. They do record it and they put it on the internet. Now, when the women do it, they block out the guy's face, the delivery guy's face, that is. And there are all kinds of sexual activities that happen when a guy shows up. Some of them are staged, yes, and some of them are not. So keep that in mind. So I don't know if this guy was going to do the same thing or thought that this chick was going to fondle him. Who knows? But nonetheless, this does happen. As the commenter then says, I promise you the first instinct isn't to monetize it all over social media. She didn't even call non-emergency. It wasn't handled in the best way, sorry. And if he didn't stage the whole thing and wanted to be found that way, then pretty disturbing. But revealing that information on social media, or his information on social media, was not clearly the best step for Olivia to go. So again, now she's being charged with 2 felony accounts. And though those you don't hear those charges often, but the fact that I heard them and they're felony accounts, that's quite a tough one to get out of. So being that this is her first offense, from what I saw elsewhere online, being that this is her first offense, she's probably going to get off on this. but her TikTok account is now going to be disbanded or deleted. She can no longer work for Uber Eats. She can. They could probably even get away with a sexual charge or two for her. So she again cried about this situation happening, exposed this man on the internet, and here we are. She got arrested and she's being charged. This is definitely not going to teach people a lesson because people never learn. But I thought this was an interesting update, and I was not happy, but I was a little bit happy to hear about it because listen, everybody was an asshole in the situation, but the fact that she used sexual assault as as the catalyst for filming this and putting it out there when this guy did nothing of the sort. That's what made me happy about the whole situation. She wanted this guy to be charged for SA, and instead, it turned around and bit her in the ass. So that's why I was a little excited. Oh, Steve, thank you for the 5x5 on Rumble. Appreciate it. Pretty sure you did that like hours ago. I'm sorry, minutes ago, but whatever. So I find that to be interesting. Anyway, this should be a lesson, but people are not going to learn. People are probably going to do this anyway. But yeah, 2 felony accounts, man, is pretty bad. It's pretty hard to get out of both of them. She's going to have to settle for one, or one's going to get kicked off, but she's definitely going to do jail time behind this. Her first offense, she could get, what the hell's that called? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Too early in the morning for this shit. This is why I hate doing this in the morning. But she could get like house arrest kind of deal, you know? She could get a warning, but I doubt it very much. Anyway, moving right along, we're going to talk about Mamdani. Now, apparently, guys, like I said last night, Mamdani they found out that a lot of his promises, probation, thank you, Teresa, probation. She could get probation, but she could also get house arrest. So there is that. Those are the 2 that she could be faced with. But she's more likely going to do jail time than probation or house arrest, which probation and house arrest are 2 different things, right? But anyway, so Kathy Hochul when I read this, I had to read it 8 times, but might raise corporate taxes to fund Mamdani's freebie promises. Now, there's something weird going on between Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, and Mamdani, the soon-to-be mayor of New York City, because the mountains she's willing to move for Mamdani is very odd. It's almost like he made her a promise, or she's going to get money somewhere, or he bought her off or something. But the fact that she's willing now to raise corporate taxes to fund Mamdani's, as they put it, freebie promises. She could have did this when she got into office, but instead she's now doing it with Mamdani. Now Mamdani, come to find out, all of his campaign promises cannot and will not come to fruition. A lot of them won't, because where's all this money going to? Now this idiot Kathy Hochul is talking about now raising corporate taxes. You know what happens when you raise corporate taxes? That they're already paying enough as it is. A lot of people seem to think that corporations do get away with murder. I'll be the first to say it. They get away with murder. They get away with a lot. But to raise corporate taxes, you're going to drive a lot of businesses out of New York City. That being said, Kathy Hochul is considering raising corporate taxes in New York to help fund the initiative proposed by Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, which includes various social programs. This potential tax increase aimed to address a significant budget gap while supporting Mamdani's agenda. Mother. All right. That was work stuff. Okay, sorry about that. And yes, work stuff this early in the morning. Absolutely. So, potential tax increase. Governor Hochul is considering raising corporate taxes in New York to address a significant budget gap of over $4 billion. This move is partially to support the agenda of Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, who has proposed various social programs. Now, the social program that I do not see getting off the ground, but she's entertaining, is the free bus rides. Now, if I'm not mistaken, not all bus lines are going to be free. Certain bus lines will be free. Still don't know how that's going to work. Universal child care, city-operated grocery stores to lower prices, and a $30, get this, minimum wage pay by 2030. That's in 5 years. He wants New Yorkers to get a minimum wage of $30. When he offered these things, I thought to myself, no way this is going to happen, and no way is anybody that stupid enough to vote for him on these empty promises. The $30 minimum wage I just found out about recently. When I saw that, I found out recently, I found out like a week or two ago. I looked at that, I said, am I reading that right? $30? So he's been promising this his whole campaign. Anyway, no way he's getting any of this off the ground. Maybe the grocery store, the city-owned grocery store, maybe that. But the $30 minimum wage, universal child care, and free bus rides, absolutely not. The MTA is in charge of the bus lines. Unless the city runs their own bus line, there's no way that this is happening. Anyway, to fund these initiatives, Mamdani has suggested increasing corporate tax rates from 7.25% to 11.5%. That is a steep tax hike, aligning it with New Jersey's rate. It also advocates for a new 2% income tax on individuals earning over $1 million. This sounds like a retarded child that made these requests or these initiatives, came up with these initiatives. A 7.25% to 11.5% tax. That is a huge hike. Huge. And then, you should do it over time if you're going to do it. Do it over time. And maybe they didn't state that they were doing it over time. That was going to be the tax hike. And to be more aligned with New Jersey, when the fuck did we do anything that New Jersey does? Anyway, and then a $30 minimum wage. Holy shit. Hyperinflation income. Yo, this is going to run businesses out of New York City. Hands down. People are going to fucking they're going to beat feet. They're going to jump shit. Anyway. Hochul has previously stated she would not raise taxes on high earners, but is now open to corporate tax increase. So Mamdani wanted to tax the rich. She's talking about taxing corporation. Either way, you're taxing these people, they're going to leave. I guarantee you're going to see a lot of companies bounce. This shift reflects the pressures from the left within her party, especially following Mamdani's election. Critics warn that such tax hikes could drive businesses out of New York and exacerbating the state's ongoing out-migration issues. Now, when Hochul won, a lot of businesses were jumping ship. They were like, yo, we can't do this. We can't sustain ourselves. Nor will we take part in this nonsense that's going on in New York State. Being that she said she wouldn't tax the individuals, she stated she would tax companies, and they were like, nope. So now, with her promising Mamdani that she's going to tax corporation or higher tax rates, and these companies are not going to leave, she screwed everybody over. Now, she's screwing corporations over, which are going to leave, which in turn is going to turn New York City into Detroit. That's what we're going to see in 5 years. A lot of these companies are going to leave. Where they're going to get their tax money from? Now, again, could be bad because this also will affect those who are receiving a pension from the city. When a city gets desperate, they start to take from the pension. Keep that in mind. So I have less than 5, which I'll probably be gone in 2 years, to retire and save my money before. To save my money before this hammer drops. Because whatever I'm getting from my pension, if they tap into my pension, I'm not going to be getting that long. So I got to save as much as I can from my pension, put it somewhere else, invest it somewhere else so that I can then rely on that. Because if they touch the pension, especially those getting paid from the pension system, we're going to be screwed. And this will be Kathy Hochul at a state level doing this. Anyway, other than that, also, guys, there was a guy who, this is real quick before I go off the air, some poor soul was deep faked. He lost only $200. Like, it was $200 or 200 pounds, excuse me, 237 pounds, because he was deep faked. He was AI deep faked by a person who stated they were Jennifer Aniston. The fact that he thought Jennifer Aniston was going after him and was in love with him, he gave up 237 pounds. The article goes on. Anyway, I'll figure it out when I get to work. But he goes on to state that she was in love with him. And again, Jennifer Aniston. Now, the deep fake, from what I've read, were pictures and I think one video. And he fell into that. And he probably thought, why would Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Aniston, famous people move in a circle. They move in a particular circle of people. They don't go to the normies like us. And the fact that this guy thought this guy was a fat bulk, I just thought it was something fun to bring up, because this guy thought Jennifer Aniston, a top-tier movie star, sexy as she is in her age, said, oh, let me go for a common fella, bald, fat, and a cab driver, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go with this guy and make, my life better by dating this dude. And this dude believed it. Yes, first and last, I heard about that story. 800,000 pounds to a Brad Pitt. But his was photos, though. It wasn't even like deep fake videos. It was a photo, if I'm not mistaken. Right? That lady. And the lady was older, too. She wasn't, so I felt bad for her, but she was an older lady, so she got duped easily. This guy was younger. He's our age, right? If not, yeah, our age. He's 50-ish, in the 50 realm, right? Late 40s, early 50s. And he fell for the Jennifer Aniston thing. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston was a smoke show when she was 30 years, like earlier, right? She's still hot now, at least for her age. I think she's hot. And she just did a recent shoot with some magazine. I was like, damn, she still got it. She can still get it, is what I'm saying. But when she was in Friends, she was her hottest then. But still, it wasn't, again, thinking, like, people don't think, like, why would I think that Jennifer Aniston thinks I'm hot? Like, she goes on here, I love you, and then she was asking for money, Jennifer Aniston? Come on, man. That's a crazy shit. Like, she's a multi-millionaire. You think that she was going to turn around and... Some people, man, some people are desperate. I think that's what it might have been. He might have been desperate for love, because he looked like the kind of guy that doesn't get laid on a daily or weekly or hell, or annually, for that matter. And he just saw this and was like, oh my God, Jennifer Aniston's in love with me. Okay. Have it your way. But, yeah, everybody keeps saying Jennifer Aniston's a dude because of that misprint in an article that came out when she was born. When the family introduced her, the news article said, welcoming their son. That's what it said. And in fact, it was meant to have been their daughter. And it said their son, Jennifer Aniston. It was a misprint. But anyway, regardless, and if she is a dude, that's one hell of a dude that got away with fucking pulling off being a smoke show. I tell you that much. She's one hot dude if that's the case. But she's not annually. Yeah, listen, getting sex once a year. This guy was definitely not an attractive fellow, if you get what I mean. Look up the story, you see the guy, you go, holy shit. Yeah, you're right, holy shit. But yeah, 8,000 pounds for a kidney, I don't think the surgery cost that much, but I don't know. I don't know what it would cost in England. But yeah, that was crazy. Anyway, I got to go off the air now. I got to go to work. I got to race to work like a fucking rat. I'll see you, a lot of you guys later. I might do a double header tonight. I'm not doing a double header tonight. I'm tired. If I do, it'll be a last minute. It'll only be on the Angry Prepper channel, but we'll see. If something interesting comes up, I'll do a live stream. If not, I'll see you guys probably next week, because I probably won't do anything Saturday either. I'll be in Long Island then. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as always. Enjoy your day. See you guys later.